obviously quick turnaround from our game the other night, which I knew was going to be a tough game going to Oregon State and playing them at their place. It was a really good test for us, and obviously came up on the short end, but had opportunities. It's a game that I think we should have won and could have won, but we got to go through these learning experiences with this team. And last 2 days have just been about, teaching, learning, and getting back to work. And so hopefully one setback and one failure will help us going forward. So, we have a really tough one tomorrow against Murray State, who is a really good team and plays completely opposite than an Oregon State, who wants to be methodical and run the entire shot clock. Now Murray State last year was the highest scoring team in the nation, so they want to play extremely fast and take a lot of threes and get downhill. So we're gonna have to flip our mindset and be ready to guard all of their action and their pace. So excited about it. It's going to be a good environment. We have, I think, 13,000 kids going to be there tomorrow. So if that doesn't give us some motivation to play hard, I don't know what will. So we're ready for it.
That first quarter, just offensively, looked like you were in a pretty good rhythm, but then the second quarter, what did you kind of see there? What made the difference between those two quarters?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I loved our start. We came out our first three, plays that we had set to run, we executed them to perfection and really were rolling. I just think, we missed some shots too that we normally make, and for whatever that is, I think we got away from who we are about attacking, because, they're 6'8", 6'6", but I think we could have attacked them even more and try to get them even in more foul trouble. And we just got to learn how to play. As teams start collapsing in, we got to just have that rhythm and cohesiveness to make the play for our teammates. And right now we're getting so caught in on the first action that we're not seeing a lot of those other actions, the second and third option. And some of that we're working in practice, we're breaking it down, we're showing them. I think some of it will be game reps and experience, but then also we can't be so tunnel vision on a lot of it. There's opportunities for kickouts, there's opportunities for hitting our posts on the dives. We got to see multiple actions that are there.
How do you like how working Aaliyah back into some more minutes has looked, and kind of what's the next step in that?
Yeah, the hard thing is when you're on limited minutes in practice too. It's for me. I'm like, okay, well, you need her to get reps, you need her to get her endurance, her stamina, everything. But then, to do that, are you gonna hurt her again? So that's the hard thing for me, but it's part of it. I loved how she came in right off the bench. She gave us 5 quick points. She just has to sustain defensively in terms of game plan. But we need her. We need her to come in and give us everything that I know she can give us. A lot of that will be just kind of getting back into that rhythm. But, man, she came in and she was great offensively right off the bat.
For Barry to be, I know early in the season, but leading the Big Ten in scoring, just the progression that she's made between last year and this year, just what have you seen that's led to that level of success?
Just the work she's put in on to expand her game. What I love about her game right now is that she's literally scoring in every way. It's not just she's a shooter. She's not just, posting up. She's not just mid-range. She can score at every facet. She's getting to the free throw line. She's rebounding. So every part of her game has just taken a step up, and she's put the work in. We've really worked her on her handle and her guard skills while also playing. If you want to, position-wise, we play her at the 4, but she's a guard. She's a guard that we're utilizing mismatches against. We're going to put her at the wing. We're going to post her up. We're going to get her to be able to get to her spots where she's super efficient, which is in those elbow and paint areas. She's playing at a really high level, and there's times the other night she literally put us on her back and was scoring and doing everything that we need from her. So we're going to have to, she has to continue to do that, but then we need some other people to step up and help in that scoring when we're struggling to hit shots.
Was that trip the learning? You wanted to win, obviously, but did you get the learning element out of it that you want from traveling to the Pacific Northwest and being on the road with a young team?
Yeah, I hope so, right? And I tell them, and I've always been like that, I hate to lose more than anything in the world, but if we can learn and win because of one failure, and you learn from it. It's part of growth. It's part of basketball. If you got to learn from everything, and sometimes it takes that to see things a little bit clearer. But that's a tough trip to go out for just one game. You know, you get out there, you play. So hopefully that will prepare us when we go out to Washington and Oregon, because that weekend's going to be a big weekend for us. Those are two games that, you know, two really good teams, and you know, will be huge if we can get one or two of them. So hopefully we can use that. It was also a really good environment. It was loud in there. There's about 4,000, but it seems like more because of how their stadium is. So I think that was good for us. That we got to understand there's a couple times it was so loud we couldn't hear plays, and then those were crucial possessions where we weren't running the right play because of because of the communication piece of it. So all things that we'll take with us as we go into Big Ten play.
As you look to your bench and getting more consistency from them, what's sort of been the things that you've emphasized the last couple of days to get that level of consistency there?
Yeah, we need it, right? We have to have it, and I know we're capable of it. You know, Aaliyah coming off the bench, you know, Maddie, Letty, you know, those are kind of the three main ones that are coming off, and they're fully capable of doing it, and a lot of it is just the consistency, more so for me, of the defensive piece of it, of, you know, being locked into scout, being locked into personnel, you know, being locked into just our last 2 days has been all about our principles. If we would have just done the only thing we do defensively and we're disciplined in our principles, we would have probably just 10 points right there, just from literally our positioning. So just kind of getting back to the basics, and then just really trying to fuel and feed the confidence of our bench people, you know. Just met with Maddie for a long time today and showing her film, talking her through stuff. Like, they're here, everyone's here for a reason, and just continue. Aaliyah, I know will get there. A lot of hers is just reps. I need to do a better job of getting Letty more touches on the low block. Like, she has to be able to be a presence and make a difference, and you know, I got to be better in that. So just a lot of things where, again, continuing just to learn. Like, I'm still, you know, what are our go-to plays and for who down the stretch? Like, last year you have such a comfort level with your team, you know who that's going to go to, like who's our best lineup in terms of defense. All those things are still, we're trying to figure out, I'm trying to figure out, and I got to be better in that as well.
How do you learn those things?
A lot of it's, I think, truly from experience, because you can simulate all these things in practice, but it's different when the lights are bright and the heat of the moment, and who's going to respond, who's going to dig in and have the focus to, again, carry out a scout specific, you know, game plan, and who's going to be able to want the shot and be able to make those shots when, again, the game's on and the lights are bright and it's loud in there, and you have 4,000 people cheering against you. All those things you learn through experience with it. You know, that last year's group, we had been through a lot of stuff together, so you knew, you know, kind of what they all were made of in those situations. So we got to keep learning in practice, but a lot of it you got to learn in games, and I got to learn quickly.
So it sounds weird, but for Gretchen to go 4 of 19, were you happy that she went 4 of 19? I feel like her first 2 years she would have turned down shots when she was missing early, and she doesn't have that mentality anymore.
That's a good point, right? And I know, I mean, the 5-3 she got, rewatching it how many times now, they were great execution. We got exactly the shot. She was all set. It looked great. She missed them. You know, she missed some of those ones at the rim. She missed a couple you know, just something. So and thanks for pointing out the positive out of that, because it is true. Like, she's not in a position now where she cannot shoot. We need her to shoot. We need Barry to shoot. And I know Gretchen's not going to go 0 for 4 many times with that clean of looks. So she knows she needs to make those. And I'll tell you one thing. I love her response. She was in the gym late on Saturday night and in the gym early yesterday morning. So she knows, and she's back in the gym, and all you can do is roll up your sleeves and get back to work. So yeah, I like how she responded to it, and hopefully she doesn't have any more of those games.
Do you like Destiny not turning it over? Where are you at with her from a scoring standpoint? Do you want her to ramp it up at all anymore?
It's funny, I just met with her and we just talked about that, right? I love her approach. So many people, they correlate points and offense to impact, and nowadays that's what everyone wants. And I just love her approach as a young, you know, point guard who comes in and she's kind of looked at it from all the other ways. How can her defense on the ball from 2 weeks ago to now night and day. I give her, you know, and she studies the game, she watches film, she wants to be better, and she's gone and she's translated on the floor. I think she's right now on the ball defense, great. Like I can't even believe the improvement in such a short time. Now we were talking about watching film on her off the ball defense, so that's her next kind of area of focus. And then we were talking about scoring today. She's facilitating, she's running the team, she's really doing a good job of not turning the ball over. Now how can we, you know, get her more looks? How can she see her own and get them organically, not just a set? How can she get more in transition? So I told her today, like, you know, see if you have those opportunities, and you have the freedom to do that. So we talked about her kind of upping that, but I don't want her to think she has to score, but she's fully capable, and hopefully we'll see that in the next, you know, few games, that she had a little bit more urgency to have that mindset.
Our gating question, tomorrow's crowd may be particularly interested in a certain number, scoring wise. You have any?
Yeah, you've seen a lot of that on Twitter and stuff. So we'll see how the kids. Hopefully we can, you know, hopefully we can get to that. 67's been hard. I don't know when we end up with the other night. So yeah, hopefully, and we're on a track record of what every kid's game. I'm gonna jinx this now. Has been 100 points the last couple of years. But yeah, I hope we can get there and get there early.
Anything else, Coach?
Thank you guys. Oh, we got one.
Yeah, Bolden is a player who
Yeah.
seemed to take a tremendous step forward from last year to this season. I was just curious what you saw in terms of development from when they played here last year to this year, and then what that does for your team to get to face a dynamic guard like that this early in the season.
Yeah, and you're right. I was really impressed with her. Even watching film, I knew she was going to be, and she has to. The other guard went out with a knee injury, so now she has to really take over. And she's that one like true athlete on that team that can really create for herself. We did a really good job with on her in the first half, and then I told them at halftime, "Be ready. She's going to try to take over." From last year, this year, her shot. They said she completely changed the mechanics of her shot, so now she's a 3-point threat. She's really good at getting to her spots on the floor, and then, you know, she did a good job. I give her credit, but I don't think we were great, obviously, in our on-ball defense. But then our help defense was non-existent, which is again our core value and principle defensively. So, but she took advantage. She was 5 for 5 at the rim, and in the second half, she was the one. She was the one that, you know, really made us pay. And, you know, learning from this again. Obviously, that was a game we had to play because it was a home and home, but I do think, you know, we didn't have, like, a lot of people wouldn't have gone out. How many teams would want to go to Oregon State for one game and play a team like that? I think he's one of the best coaches in the country. They're so deliberate in what they do. I mean, they literally run you down to 8 seconds. You got to guard, and then they're going to try to take advantage of a lack of discipline and a little fatigue, and they were elite at that in the second half. So I think that's, you know, they won the conference last year. They're picked to win the conference this year. I hope they win the conference this year. That'll just help us and you know, our net. But hopefully we use this. We need to use this, you know, learn and get better from it. That's the main thing for us right now.